Hi everyone. In today's video, I want to discuss with you about the questions that are often asked of prospective PhD candidates when they are interviewing for a position in the university. So, if you are interested in pursuing a PhD, especially with an international university, you may be called for an interview if you have the relevant background and skills. I am myself from the University of Tasmania, a researcher, a supervisor, and I have interviewed a number of candidates regarding PhD positions. So, today, let me just discuss with you some of the questions we ask and how you should be answering it. Let's get into it. So, the first question that I often ask the students is that why do they want to pursue a PhD? In this case, don't give answers that you feel are expected for us to hear. Instead, be honest about your approach. Why is it that you want to do a PhD? The answer could be that maybe you have been doing some research and you want to take this research forward. Maybe you are striving for a academic position in a university, or maybe you are working in an industry in a position which requires you to obtain more knowledge of research in a topic or research at a much higher level so that you can contribute to the industry. Demonstrate clear understanding of your career path or your research life. Connect with your past research, academic research, experience, industry experience, and demonstrate a genuine interest in doing a PhD. Do not just provide memorized answers or answers that you feel that should be provided to impress the supervisor. The next question that we often ask is that what relevant research skills, experiences, background you have that will help you to complete this project. Here again, be very honest. There was a candidate that I interviewed once who had switched off his video. We were on a Zoom call. He was a candidate, an international candidate we were interviewing, and he had switched off his video of his Zoom and said that he had internet issues. And we didn't have any evidence, but we felt that he is using AI to provide answers, and his answers reflected that. Now, we were not very happy, and the candidate was actually having great experience, and if he had been honest about his experience, maybe he would have created an impression. But because he was using AI and we could feel that from his responses, it was not very genuine. Me and my co-supervisors were immediately a bit turned off from the candidate, although he had some good skills. So I would always stress on you being very honest about it. So, talking about your previous experience, focus on your most relevant research project. Explain what methodology, research methods you have used in the past, any publications or presentations you have made. Discuss about the challenges that you have faced and how you overcome those challenges. Now, remember, you don't have to always be an academic researcher. You can also be a researcher in the industry. You can also produce some white papers, some research reports, assist in government reports. You don't have to come up with academic publications in peer-reviewed journals and conferences. But be honest with what is your experience, because believe me, if you are not passionate about research and you are just doing a PhD for the sake of becoming a doctor, or you think that is the path for you because you have seen others doing it, you may get frustrated. So being honest with yourself from the very beginning will help you in completing the research journey. So talk about the skills that you bring. Maybe you have completed certain units, such as specific qualitative research methods, specific quantitative research methods, using research analysis tools, data analysis tools. Maybe you were part of a project that helped in analyzing copious amounts of data and producing a report from it. So talk about that. Then the supervisors may ask you, why have you chosen this particular university or this particular supervisory team? Then again, you can talk about the expertise of the supervisory team. So this shows that you have done research on your supervisory team. You talk about the expertise or the facilities provided by the university. Maybe there are certain specific facilities like simulators or laboratories or equipments, such as maybe 3D printers or laser equipment. So something that is very unique to that university, and you can talk about that is also aligned with your research project. So helping or rather talking about that you have done some research shows the supervisory team that you are highly interested, you are highly motivated, you are invested in this team, you are invested in the university, and you are not just applying randomly. Now, of course, we understand that as PhD candidates, you want to apply to a few universities, but having done research about those universities, knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the universities and the supervisory team and the expertise they bring will help you to get that edge. They might also ask you, the supervisory team may also ask you that how have you handled some kind of research setbacks? What if you face challenges in research? Then you have to understand some of the challenges that researchers often face. For example, maybe not getting access to the sample size, or not getting access to the population that you want to interview, or maybe not having a certain equipment, not being able to travel. So then you must come up with certain challenges and certain strategies. For example, if you are not able to travel, can you interview people over Zoom, over Microsoft Teams, using online methods? Or not having access to an equipment, are you having partnerships with some industry, or are you having access to some equipment in the industry or other universities where you may form a partnership and access their equipment, access their lab, access their facilities to collect the data? So these are things that show the supervisors that you are aware of the challenges that you may face in the future, and you are ready to tackle them. And of course, the supervisory team is there to support you, but they want to see whether you are aware of the challenges or not. Have you done some forward planning, some future planning regarding the data collection, and how you go about handling the challenges that you will face? They might also ask you about your long-term career goals, as to when you finish your PhD, what is the path that you want to take. So you have to show a very clear understanding of academic or industry career paths. So you don't have to be an academic, you don't have to be a researcher, a professor, or associate professor. You can also be part of the training. Show how that your PhD training aligns with your goals. Show why it is important for you to do a PhD. Demonstrate realistic expectations about your careers, including backup plans, or what you think will happen if you don't work out. So if you say, if you want to be an academic, you want to be a lecturer, and the supervisors say, what if you don't get a researcher's position, you don't get an academic position, you are not able to do a postdoctoral research, what will you do then? Then come up with some backup plans. Be realistic, be honest, be genuine, because the supervisors are experienced enough to see through if any fakeness is demonstrated. All right, so you have to talk honestly, because it's your career, it's your life. So don't come up with something that is just out of thin air, and supervisors see through it. They may feel that you are fake. Some of the other things that you can show is that you can bring share copies of your proposal, your CV, your resume, show publications, try to explain the topic very easily, so that they know that you have a good grasp or understanding over your topic. Of course, they will also ask you about your research proposal, which is going to be a very integral part of your interview. Now, when you discuss your research proposal, the simpler, the easier you explain it, it shows grasp over your topic. All right, so when you explain your research proposal, explain the research problem. When you explain the research problem, back it up with references. It should not come out of simply your experience, or what you think, or what you perceive, or based on your so-called chats with your friends or your fellow researchers. It has to be backed with references. Otherwise, the supervisors, otherwise the research community will always ask you the question, who says, or says who, or where have you got this problem for? So use some references to back it up with. Explain the problem very simply. There should be some real world relevance to the problem. So if you solve that problem, the world will take notice of it. It doesn't have to be a massive problem. It can be a very small problem, which if you solve, if you address, if you come up with some recommendations, then the world will take notice of you, because this is important for your own career, not for the careers of the supervisors only. It is important for your career. So if you come up with a problem, show some research problem, and it should be a PhD worth research problem. It should not be a simple yes and no answer, that if you ask a question, the answer should be not simply a yes or no. It should be worthy of an investigation, where the answer could be yes, or it could be a no, or it could be a maybe. That will be revealed by your research. So don't ask any simple research questions. We don't expect as supervisors that you will have your research question completely edged out. You will know exactly what the variables are. You will have the definition of the variables. You will know exactly what to do. But no, but a good idea of your project, some passion for your project, showing or demonstrating how your research aligns with the industry you are in, with the department we are in, or the supervisory's experience, that shows them that you have thought about it. So you should be able to explain it simply in a few words, in a few sentences first, and then if they need elaborate understanding of the topic, then you go ahead, talk a little bit about the methodology you will use. And all this could be based on past research. You could be looking at past research, seeing how people have solved it, and basing it on that. But being able to show how it will contribute to your goal, to the career, to the industry, to the research out there, to the literature out there, shows that you have done some thinking. One of my senior co-supervisors always tells me that to ask the candidate one thing: have they ever read a PhD thesis from page 1 to the last page? Have you ever read a single PhD thesis from front to back? And this is, I think, a very important question, because if you have never read a research thesis, you don't know what kind of work you will be expected to do in that thesis, how many pages it could be. Some research is by monograph, some research is by publications. So you have to have a fair idea of what a thesis constitutes, what are the different chapters, how is a PhD thesis different from a master's thesis, what are the background skills that you have, that you bring to you, that will help you to complete this project. So because all supervisors are always worried that a candidate may start the project but are unable to complete it, and that is what they will always try to find out from you, as to how you will go about ensuring that you can complete the PhD. And that is why they ask you about your previous research experience, the skills that you have, the experience of handling setbacks or challenges that you have, because they know that these are the things that you will encounter. Some supervisors, and including us, we give an opportunity to the student towards the end to ask us any questions. Now, do not waste this opportunity. I feel that there are some candidates who are not prepared to ask questions. So ask about questions. So you can always ask questions whether you are expected to do a PhD full-time or a part-time. Are you expected to shift to the international country, or are you expected to stay in your country? What are the visa issues that could happen? How much time period will you get? What are the milestones that you would have to show? Is there any kind of funding available to attend conferences? What are you expected out of your PhD? Are you expected to generate publications, or are you only expected to complete the thesis? Are you expected to attend conferences? Who will be funding for those conferences? Are there any possibilities of research collaborations? So recently I employed a student, and we were struggling to get the student because the student didn't have any collaboration. So I found a collaboration with the University of Swinburne, and I spoke to the professor there, and we have come up with a collaborative research project where the candidate will use their facilities and collect data, and do partial data collection with our facilities in University of Tasmania. But if you can come up with some of those relationships, if you can have these things at your disposal, then the supervisory team gets more excited, because then they feel that you are very excited about the project. So I thought I will discuss some of these questions with you guys. This is not an exhaustive list of questions. You can be asked about any questions, and that depends on the supervisor, the field you are in, because there are some fields which are highly technical, and the supervisor will ask you questions about that field. You have to know a little bit about your field, not a little bit, but you have to know enough about the field that you can answer those questions expected from a PhD candidate. I have not gone into those questions because each field is different, and I come from a social science field. So of course you have to talk a little bit about the field. So you can talk a little bit about the recent research that you have been reading. What are the recent developments in that field? What is the current topics that are very relevant, which are very popular, and for which you have a passion or a background. So don't talk about artificial intelligence if you don't understand about artificial intelligence, or you have no idea or no background in it. Don't start talking about how people learn if you don't have a background in psychology. So you need to have a little bit of background, a little bit of knowledge. You don't have to be an expert in that area, but you need to have read a few papers, you need to have read a few theories. So a lot of supervisors that I know in social science often focus a lot on the theoretical knowledge, like knowledge of theories that are applicable in our project. So do a little bit of theory learning as well. What are the theories that are fitting very well? Because at the end of the day, you are doing a PhD, a doctorate of philosophy, where you have to make certain contributions to the literature, to the current knowledge in that field. So reading those theories will also help you. But I just talked more about general questions that supervisors often ask to gauge the passion of the student, to gauge the genuine interest of the student, to know that this student will not only is not only doing a PhD for the glamour of it, for adding a title to their name, but also doing it because they genuinely have passion towards not only starting it but completing it. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about this video. I'm happy to discuss more videos like this if you find them interesting and helpful for your future journey. Good luck. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you soon with my next video. Bye from Dr. Sam here.